Michael Carrick is someone we can relate to in this way. Imagine being a JV player called up to practice with varsity for the first time. So what's the secret? To understand what's happening at Manchester United, we have to go back in time and understand the rules of the game, and more importantly, the history of the club, especially during the Fergie era. It wasn't always pretty, but under Alex Ferguson, Manchester United have developed a strong DNA of winning late games, and they even developed something that was called the Fergie time. United was very dominated until the new sheriff from North London arrived. His name was Arsene Wenger. He had his own philosophy on how to play football, but before we get there, let's get back to the history. In 1863 was the year that the FA invented the modern day soccer rules. This was one of the reasons most people say that football was invented in England. The rules of the game played a major role in shaping how football was designed, played, and structured. Positions were defined through how the rules were interpreted. Traditionally, numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were associated with defensive roles, while 7, 11, 9, and 10 were linked to attacking responsibilities. That left number 8 as a balance point, the player connecting defense to attack and dictating the tempo. Some call it rhythm of the game. Why is this important and how does it relate to our subject? Remember when I said Manchester United were a very dominant force until a new sheriff arrived? That sheriff was Arsene Wenger, the man who helped transform the Premier League. Wenger introduced an attacking philosophy built on possession, movement, and flair. His teams were constructed around intelligent, positionless players, footballers with character and high football IQ who could interpret space rather than occupy it. In many ways, he challenged the conventional understanding of how the game should be played, especially in England at the time, when everyone was playing a standard formation. Traditionally in England, the striker, number 9, was seen as the first attacker and the last defender, leading the press but also being the outlet. Under Wenger, the system flipped. The striker became the first defender in the press, while even the goalkeeper and the back line became the first attackers in the build-up play. To execute this style, you needed a cohesive collective players capable of operating across multiple roles simultaneously and performing at the high level the entire game. This system is not built for everyone. It requires intelligence, trust, and tactical discipline. In 2000, another force arrived, a football mercenary from Portugal, known as the Special One. This is the Jose era. Mourinho became a nightmare for both Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. His football was very different, pragmatic, powerful, and relentless. His teams were built to control moments, wait patiently, and strike with precision. And I mean precision. At times they will press first, depending on the opponent, but his core identity never changed. Many hated it because they couldn't decode it, and Mourinho never compromised his philosophy. After his success at Chelsea and Inter, he returned to the Premier League, leading Chelsea to another title run before eventually taking charge at Manchester United. Jose Mourinho say that finishing second with Manchester United was one of his greatest achievements.
One of the best jobs of my career, to finish second with Manchester United in the Premier League. You say this guy is crazy.
But the more I thought about it, the more I understood. Like his plan to push to sign Harry Maguire during his time there. How many remember that actually Jose was the first manager to push for United to sign Harry Maguire? Why? Well, the answer is very simple. If you know the history of Jose, he tends to empower his players, putting them in a position where they can succeed. And if you know anything about Harry Maguire, till this day, he's still one of the best box defenders in the Premier League. And if you don't believe me, just look at the tapes and see what he has done under Michael Carrick over the last 3 games or so. But let's get back to Jose and his tenure at Manchester United. Jose is a serial winner. He wanted to restore that Sir Alex identity that we talked about earlier in this video. It wasn't like Maguire was a scrub either. He was playing proper football at Leicester, partnering up with Morgan, one of the most elite duo in the Premier League at the time, and Mourinho knew exactly that is what he needed. So this wasn't just about Mourinho getting what he wanted. This was about Mourinho building an identity around what every great team does, especially if you look at the history of all the great teams in the football who have won and done big things in big game. They've all had big names in the back line, starting with Barcelona, you name it. Just in 2011 you had Carlos Puyol back there with PK. Manchester United 2008 you had Rio and Nemanja Vidic. Chelsea, you had a partnership of John Terry, Alex, many more who came after that. As a student of the game, Mourinho understood what needed to be done in order for United to restore back its identity and to return back to the glory days. But the club hesitated, in part because there was always tension around how much control a manager should have over a squad construction, especially after Sir Alex Ferguson era, where the manager had total authority over football decision. Eventually, Mourinho was let go, but in his view, something deeper was already lost. United identity, its pride, and its football certainty. During that turbulent period, there was also a young coach working closely beside him through the power struggle between the coaching staff and the front office. Together, Mourinho and his staff focused on maximizing a squad they felt was already stretched to its ceiling. Finding ways to win games with limited tools was something that Jose wasn't quite used to. That was just not his style. That's what Mourinho meant when he called that second place finish such a great achievement. He knew what it took internally. The tactical achievement, the management, the strategic planning behind the scene. Alongside with him, trusted football minds like Michael Carrick, who is now a head coach in his own right. Carrick finished playing under Mourinho at Manchester United, and Mourinho immediately offered him a place on the coaching staff. Mourinho said many times that Carrick already thinking like a coach in the field, and it was very easy for him to give him the seat, to sit right next to him, because again, Mourinho is a student of the game. He is very old school. He is all about rebuilding the identity of the club. And if you know anything about Jose Mourinho, he has such high respect for Sir Alex Ferguson and what he did. Last January felt like a full circle moment. Michael stood across from Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta, big names in today's game. Another mind that reshaped how English football sees itself. And in many ways, Pep's philosophy was built for players like Michael Carrick, a rhythm player, a tempo thinker, a rare English profile, control before chaos, intelligence before greed. There's always been this quiet whispering going around that if Michael Carrick was Spanish, French, or Italian, the world might be considered or call him differently. Why? Some players are understood louder in other football languages. But legacy isn't built on noise. It's built on mastery. Next episode, we dive into how he stepped onto the pitch and dismantled City and Arsenal, not with ego, but with education, lessons from Jose, standards from Sir Alex, structure and development from Wenger, and even pain from the Pep 2011 Champions League night in London, when football humbled United and shaped Carrick's evolution. Because this was never just about matches. This was about inheritance, about learning from the one who broke you and using it to build something they never expected. This is way deeper than football. This is legacy in motion. This is why we watch, and this is why we play.
That's why we right to get a deal. He on the team, he gotta eat, you know, despite the skills. Keep it riding for the fam, you gotta light the wheels straight up. But in the past bad, work up in the trash bag. I'll pass a lot to take the test before I pass class. And my family needed bread, I had to come correct. That's why I keep airing it out like I just passed gas.